All right, today we're going on a journey way, way back in time. I'm talking before any writing, before kings, before the cities we even think of as ancient. We're digging into the very foundations of civilization on the Indian subcontinent. And this is a story that isn't written in books, you see. It's written in stone and in bone over millions of years.
So that brings up a huge question, right? How on earth do you tell a story when nobody wrote anything down? There are no books, no inscriptions on walls, not a single record to read. I mean, it's pretty much the ultimate cold case. And the mystery we're trying to solve is our own origin story. Well, the answer is you have to read the earth itself. The whole story is right there, buried beneath our feet. Archaeologists basically become detectives. The clues? They're the physical things people left behind. You know, the stone tools they so carefully chipped into shape, the bones from animals they ate, and yeah, even the fossilized remains of the people themselves. Okay, so to even begin to wrap our heads around this enormous, silent stretch of time, we need a system. We need the right tools for the job. So let's start with how archaeologists actually decode this vast, wordless past. And you know what? The classification is surprisingly simple. It really all just comes down to one thing: writing. The prehistoric period, which is what we're focused on today, is the era with no script at all, zero. Then you've got the proto-historic period. This one's interesting. They had a script, think of the famous Indus Valley seals, but we can't read it yet. It's still a mystery. And finally, the historic period kicks in the moment we find written records that we can actually decipher and understand. All right, let's dive into the main event, the Stone Age. And get this, it makes up almost all of human history. We're going to start with the very first and by far the longest chapter, the Paleolithic, or the Old Stone Age. And you have to understand, this is not a story about building empires or grand inventions. This is a story of pure day-to-day survival. So our story really gets going in Africa with our earliest ancestors. First up, you have Australopithecus with a brain size around 400 cc. Then a big step forward with Homo habilis, the handyman, who was the very first to start making stone tools. After him comes Homo erectus, who achieved something incredible, mastering fire. That completely changed the game for diet, warmth, and safety. And finally, you have us, Homo sapiens, the thinking human. Now, these early humans from the Old Stone Age actually got a nickname, Quartzite Man. And you might be wondering why. Well, it's because their entire world, their survival, revolved around this one specific material, quartzite. It's the super hard rock that they became experts at flaking and shaping into the tools they needed to live, things like hand axes, choppers, and blades. Their technology literally defined who they were. So, where do we see this story unfolding in India? Well, it seems to start in the Bori caves in Maharashtra, with evidence that goes back an absolutely astonishing 1.4 million years. The first actual tools, though, were discovered back in 1864 at a place called Pallavaram. And their lifestyle? It was completely nomadic. We're talking small groups or bands that were constantly on the move, following the food. And a really, really important site is Hatnora, because that's where we found the first human and animal fossils from this period in India. You have to remember, the Old Stone Age was incredibly long. So to make sense of it, we break it down into 3 phases, and it's all based on how their tool technology evolved. It starts simple, with basic hand axes for chopping and cutting. Then they get smarter. They realize they can make more efficient tools from the sharp flakes they chip off the main stone. And finally, in the Upper Paleolithic, you see these sophisticated, long, sharp blades and specialized tools for carving. Now, this isn't just about making better tools. It's like we're looking at a map of a mind that's getting better and better at planning, at visualizing, and at pulling off complex tasks. And right here, this is where we see a massive leap in how humans think. In the Belin Valley, archaeologists found this small figurine. It's a mother goddess, and it was carved from bone. Think about that for a second. This isn't a tool for hunting. This isn't for survival. This is art. This is belief. It's abstract thought made real. It's one of the very first signs of a truly modern human mind at work. Okay, so after that long, slow crawl of the Old Stone Age, things started to change. The climate warmed up, the Ice Age ended, and humanity entered this new, really dynamic period, the Mesolithic, or the Middle Stone Age. And this was a time of super fast adaptation and just brilliant invention. The signature technology of this era, something called a microlith. And micro is the key word here. Look at the size. We're talking tiny, just 1 to 8 centimeters long. Now, they weren't used by themselves. The absolute genius of it was in combining them. They would attach these tiny, super sharp stone points onto shafts of wood or bone, and suddenly they had arrows, spears, and sickles. It was a massive leap forward in efficiency and precision. The Mesolithic age saw this just incredible wave of firsts. I mean, for the very first time, we see evidence of animal domestication, starting with, you guessed it, man's best friend, the dog. People also started building the first houses, like the ones found at Sarai Nahar Rai. They made the first hand-make pottery. And maybe most famously, they created breathtaking rock art, like the paintings at Bhimbetka, which is now a World Heritage Site you can still visit. Life was changing, and it was changing fast. Now, all of this innovation, all these new ideas, they were setting the stage for what came next. And what came next was arguably the single most important transformation in all of human history. This is the Neolithic, or the New Stone Age. And believe me, it changed everything. Just look at this slide. It puts it in such stark contrast. Before farming, life was nomadic. It was uncertain. You were always just following the food. But after farming, life became settled. For the first time ever, people could actually produce a surplus of food. And that allowed for permanent villages, for bigger communities, and for the very foundation upon which all of civilization is built. So what were the big breakthroughs? Well, agriculture first pops up at a site called Lahudderdewa. Soon after, you see staple crops like wheat and barley being cultivated. Then, at this hugely important site called Mehergar, people did something amazing. They became the first in the world to grow and use cotton. And as if that wasn't enough, Mehergar also gave us another total game changer, the potter's wheel, which completely revolutionized how they could produce goods. But Neolithic life wasn't the same everywhere. You can already see India's incredible diversity taking shape. Up in Burzahom in Kashmir, people lived in underground pits and were even buried with their dogs. Over at Koldiha, we find the world's earliest evidence for rice cultivation. Chirand is famous for a huge number of tools made from deer antlers. And down in Sangankalu, these giant ash mounds are all that's left of ancient cattle camps. It's just amazing. So, our long journey through the Stone Age is almost done, but there's one final, transitional phase. And this one acts as the bridge connecting the world of stone to the next great era of civilization, the Age of Metals. This period is called the Chalcolithic Age, which literally means the Copper-Stone Age, and that name is the most important thing to remember. People didn't just wake up one day and drop their stone tools. For a long, long time, they used both. They kept their old, trusted stone technology right alongside this revolutionary new material, copper. During this time, you start to see these really distinct cultures developing, like the Ahara people, who were known for their beautiful black and red pottery. They had specific rituals too, like burying their dead from north to south, right under the floors of their own homes. And settlements got much, much bigger. The largest one we know of, Daimabad, might have housed up to 4,000 people. I mean, that's practically a proto-city. So let's just quickly recap this incredible journey. We started way back 1.4 million years ago in the Paleolithic, the age of pure survival. Then, around 10,000 BCE, we hit the Mesolithic, the age of adaptation. That led to the massive Neolithic revolution around 7,000 BCE. And finally, around 3,000 BCE, the Chalcolithic age kicked off the big transition into a world of metal. Think about that for a second. From the first, roughest stone chopper to the first copper axe, it took millions of years. It was a journey of almost unimaginable length and slowness. And that kind of leads to a final thought, doesn't it? We've gone from metal to silicon to data in just a few short generations. So, what will the archaeologists of the future call the revolution that we're living through right now?